Hey, that's weird that the audio is weird. That's the second time that's happened to me. Give me a second. We're getting set up here. Um, hey, yeah, voice is fine. Yeah, that happened once before. I'm streaming like YouTube videos, and the for some reason every once in a while it just like doesn't. I don't know. It sounded like old video game distortion. Yeah, every once in a while it just like doesn't work right. I don't know. Old computers are old. Um, so what are we talking about here? Well, we're doing a portfolio review. We're doing Johnny Lighthands, which I'm skeptical if Lighthands is his real name. So we're gonna do portfolio review. Real quick before we get started, I was so Rick and Morty Vindicators is out in the shops. So that's what's up for as far as the promotion goes. I was feeling really good about the digital painting, and then I opened it again today that we just finished. I opened it again today, and I was like, oh, there's like 4 things I want to tweak. And I kind of like tweaked it. I put it in the Discord. So if you want to see it, it's slightly slightly different. Oh, Matt Garvey's here. Don't panic. So yeah, so I tweaked it a little bit because I don't think I'm ever gonna like be able to leave things alone, maybe, when it comes to this stuff. When I'm like new to something, I like always kind of like revisit over and over and over again. And I think that is because I'll see something that I didn't see when I sat down because I haven't trained my eye enough. Also, I was feeling really good about that digital painting, and I was like, yeah. I was like, we're going to stream today. It's going to be a good stream, good day, getting a lot of stuff done. And I walked into the other room that has not a dehumidifier, like an automatic air purifier thing, and it like I walked into the room and I was there for a minute and it clicked on like it sensed me and I was terrible to its senses. And I was like, man, you gotta, every time I like, the self-esteem comes up, something knocks it down, and I'm like, oh, I'm not a complete human being yet. Like, we have a ways to go before I've achieved the full human being experience. Anyway, let's get into this. Let's bullshit aside. Let's get into what we got going on here. So, your house just thinks you smell. Yep. So this is the link that Lighthands gave us, Johnny Lighthands. I don't know, like, so I think this is like Adobe thing because it's like says Adobe in the corner. I don't, I don't know what these statistics are or whatever, but like it links. Let's see, we can check out it, see if these links work. Page not found for Instagram, so that's not set up, unfortunately. But hey, there we go. This link works, and you have your Instagram down here, so nothing wouldn't make me feel that way too if you were Behance is owned by Adobe. Yeah, so okay, all right. So as you can probably tell just from like the small amount of artwork that you've seen so far, Johnny Lighthands does have a very strong portfolio. So this is going to be kind of like a weird, we're going to be like talking about the portfolio, and we're going to be talking like you're going to think that I'm like nitpicking because I want to give you a portfolio review that is going to give you stuff to work on. So we're going to talk about the actual art first, and then I'm going to talk about like what your next step is, because like Johnny is kind of like out of the the step that's like, you know, that's where he's like, I got to really work on my portfolio. No, you're out of that step. You got to make the transition into like doing actual comic book work. Okay. So with that in mind, I see you're in London. So apparently I can message you over this like portal. I don't know if this is your email address or not, but there should be some way to contact you on here. I mean, you have your website down here. Let's check that out. I just want to make sure all the links and stuff work. So you have portfolio, you have about, color work is over here. Let's click around. Cool. We're going to be talking about all these pieces in like a second. I just want to make sure that like, you know, links work and you are easily contactable. Yeah. So I assume this goes to your email box. So you're pretty easily contactable. Let's get into the sequentials. So you have a bunch of pinups, and pinups play really well on the internet. We've talked about this before in other portfolio reviews. Pinups play really well on the internet. They work really well for things like Instagram and Twitter and stuff like that. They're not so great for scoring comic jobs. When I see a portfolio filled with pinups and covers, I don't think that you're capable of doing sequential work, which is like 99% of the time when somebody hires you for sequential work, that's what they're hiring you for. So rather than getting into covers and pinups, also I actually just kind of came around to the idea of like covers and pinups should be like your alpha stage or your beta stage or whatever, where like you're like, I want to try something out, but like I can't do it on 20 pages yet. I just want to see if it's gonna work. I want to try something. So that's where your mentality should be with that stuff. But let's open the sequential work. Is this there we go. Do we get there? This is like, is it just gonna show me? I guess we're just gonna scroll. For some reason, I got it to like show me like a menu before. Oh no! Oh no! We've clicked the wrong thing. I'm an old man. All right. Anyway, let's jump in. So the Harley and Ivy pages that you have in your portfolio are probably your strongest pages. Let's do like a quick overview. So these are your strongest pages, so it's good that they're up front. The Batman page is really good as well. It's a little bit plain for like, you did a really great job with it. You did a really great job with it. You made it very interesting. You have like two places going on inside the Batmobile and not, but it is a very plain page. Like there's not a lot going on. Like there's a lot going on in these Harley and Ivy pages, which is something that I appreciate. That said, this page does look really good. You're doing like a weird orange thing though. I don't know if you mean to do that or not. We'll talk about that in a second. This is, I think, the weakest Sean Phillips. Yeah, this is Sean Phillips' page. I think this is far and away the weakest, to the point where I would take it out of the portfolio. Like this looks weird. We'll get into it in a second. But I see you put it in here. I think it's second to the end or third to the end. Yeah. Like, and it's only a single page, and I don't know. I don't know what this necessarily communicates that doesn't communicate, like you can't communicate with any of these pages. So yeah, I would pull this out of there. The Daredevil pages look really good, but they're like, I was trying to figure this out. So without the like actual PSD files, I can't tell if this is like dark and appropriate or dark and too dark. It's hard for me to tell without the actual PSD files for me to like eyedrop and like check the values of. But the Daredevil pages like look really good. The way you handled like this stuff looks really great. Yeah, we'll talk about this in a minute, and then I think these are your second best work in the portfolio. And we're going to talk about how to punch it up, this page right here. And ironically, maybe not ironically, I don't know why it's ironic, but this page of the traffic and this page of Harley and Ivy, I feel like we are like closer to local color more than anything. Like it's like a bright, well-lit day. And I feel like your color, like where you're at mentally with color, is communicated best in these pages. Like you're doing a lot of like cool stuff everywhere, but like I could tell you're like really moody here, and you're really moody with these Daredevil pages, but they might be too dark to actually print. And then like this, you were like trying to be moody, but like just didn't quite get there. Like it's moody, but it's not great. It's just kind of there. But anyway, let's get into the nuts and bolts of this thing. So your portfolio is super strong. There's a couple things that I think that you could work on in these pages. So we have Harley and Ivy, and they're kind of looking nuts and bolts. Here we go. Welcome to the chat, Rico. So in this Harley and Ivy page, they're kind of like samey throughout the page. Like the green is always the same green. Like Harley and Ivy's skin tone's always the same. I can't tell if you're learning. I can't tell if like this is, I think the line art back here is knocked out, but with like this kind of stuff, it's all kind of turning into one shape. And you can, I don't know, like kind of like try to lighten it on one side to darker on the other to give it motion. Another thing is like you have this plant that's like in the foreground here. By darkening it up, it'll pull like towards the reader, and you'll pull the focus to where you want the focus. You also have like, so the backgrounds are all kind of like, you just kind of like put a grad in, and like for something like this, it works. For something like this, it works. But like here, you just kind of like threw a grad in, and like you could kind of like make the glass like look interesting. And you're kind of have like an opportunity, and I don't know if it's glass or not. It might just be rigging, but like there's an opportunity here to like do something cool, and it's like just kind of passed up on. And also with this, you have like a lot of depth between the rigging and where you want the focus, which is down here. You can throw a gradient through the entirety of like the figures, and it will make the page like look less samey, you know? We could actually, can we just, because I want to show you what I mean. All right, so like if we were like quick and dirty, no judgments, chat. All right, everybody be cool. Probably glass, poison ivy, greenhouse glass. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah. You're in full judgment mode. No, that's not where we wanted you. So, okay. I know it's like super chunky and bad, and we're like flying by the seat of our pants here. We're using like a low resolution, like kind of thing going on here, but like we can also like by doing that, you've pulled focus from basically being like, I'm just going to show the figures and I'm going to like, you call yourself a professional, judged. You've like pulled the focus from the top and just kind of like generally everywhere to like where you want it, which is like right here with the characters, what they're experiencing. And like, you can then kind of like take, you know, this like greenhouse thing that you got going on, kind of like do something like that. You know, like there's a lot of opportunity in these pages to like, what you're doing right now is like, it's very, very good and there's nothing wrong, but like you can take it further. Like you can push it to like the next level where it's like, oh, not only is it like all good and nothing, you know, like, you're not doing anything wrong, but like, and it's like your palette's interesting, but you can like push it further. You can make it more interesting. Yeah. So, and I think that's like basically where your head, it's too safe. Yeah. Yeah, maybe it is like that it's safe, but like, I'm trying to think, because like I don't want to say it's too safe, because then he'll like, you know, Johnny Lighthands is doing stuff like this where he's not playing it safe, and it like it benefits. Like this page is kind of a boring page that is like built beautifully through color, and he's not playing it safe. So I don't want to say that he's like, this is like the problem is he's playing it too safe. I would say the problem is that like, when you get done with a page for a portfolio, I would give it a day. Like, let your eyes rest, or, you know, like do something else, and then come back to it and be like, sit down at the desk. And instead of thinking like, is this done? What I would try to think of is like, okay, how do we make this better? Like, how do we take this as it exists right now and just make it better? You know, like if you were going to try something crazy, what would you do? Like, we could also, like, there's a lot of different ways to like try to, like she's like reaching out to us. Like, I don't know what's going on in the story, but like you could try different ways of making it interesting. Like, oh god, selections. We're still in the no judgment zone. like just that simple thing added a little bit of depth to that panel, made it like a little bit more interesting. And I think that's what you want to think about. Like, I think that you want to start, you know, messing with the line art a little bit, seeing what you can do, seeing what you can do to kind of like make changes to like push it. Hey Nyang. So okay, let's open this back up. So, but like the palette's really great. I keep saying that, but it is. So I assume this is like, here's something that you're like running into that is a problem by making it kind of like you've settled on a palette and you've made it look good, but then you move on to this page and you're still kind of like working this same palette. When I saw these two pages together, I thought that this was the same place. You know, like this looked to me like they were here, and then their costumes changed for some reason, and it like took me a couple panels to be like, oh, this is a whole different place. So if you're gonna put these pages together, you want to make sure that like this page, and this is why we work on sequentials and we don't work on covers and pinups and stuff like that. Like, you want to make it absolutely clear that like this page is different. The place that this is different than the place that this is. You want to make, you can like, and you can do that just by like changing up the color a little bit. By like washing this whole page in like 10% yellow and then like kind of making some small tweaks. You make this like really feel really sunny, and then they're like indoors for this. So you can take this whole page and wash it in like 10% like little bit of blue, and they will now feel wildly different by picking two colors that are like opposite on the color wheel. This is actually an Archie story where they dress up as DC characters. Oh, all right. One thing that I would do is like, I know that like the characters back here aren't super important, but like I would kind of like do like this guy's popping out like crazy to me. I would add a little bit of variation, maybe a little bit of shadow. Not, you don't have to go crazy, but like, you know, just a little bit. I like these little light shines, but you're putting them underneath the line art. Like this kind of looks, they look a little weird. Like I get what you're going for. It's like a disco ball kind of thing. I've been to a party. So you want to like embrace the light that you're putting down and like put it over the line art. Get gutsy with it. If you want to, put it on another layer. If you think that like, oh, we're not sure if they're gonna like it, they're gonna not like it, you know, just try it. Just the one party. I've been to a party. But yeah, you're also like what's going on up here where everything's kind of samey. You're running into the same problem. You have this foreground element, and it has the same tones as this element in the back, and you can like punch up your work just by doing simple like darkening this guy up or darkening them up, pushing them back. Like trying to figure out where you want to pull focus will make your work stronger. 100%. Same thing here. Like, you know, this is basically the flipped version. Like this panel is like, you know, from the Joker's perspective, and this panel is from Harley and Ivy's perspective. Like by just like darkening up the foreground and darkening up the foregrounds, like you have the opportunity to like kind of like push the reader where you want them. Not only that, but like it also gives you an opportunity to like change up what's going on with the page. Like, so we're again going to be like, you know, a little sloppy with this. I apologize. My mouse skills are not what they once were. All right. So you can kind of like, by darkening them up, and see, that's like 30% of like a dark blue, and it's already starting to look different, you know? You've like pulled focus, but not only that, like you can like completely change the lighting on them if you want to. Like, I'm not saying that like this is necessarily where you want to be, but like you can like, you have the opportunity to like do, you know, basically whatever you want. Like you can like really, by playing with color in a way where you're doing foreground, middle ground, background, you can really start to play with palettes in a very creative way. Like skin tones don't, like the skin tone that she has through this whole thing can change here. We can do like a light blue. And since it's a party, and I've been to one party, I know that like, you know, the like lighting will change. There's like music. You've set up this like disco ball kind of thing. Like, who's to say that it's not going to be like alternating like pink lights and blue lights and yellow lights, you know, like you can really like play with it. And I think that if you start to do that, then this page is going to like radically change from this page, you know? Sorry, I'm keeping an eye on chat. All right. So, yeah, and this page is kind of more of the same. Like it's good. Good palette, good rendering, you know, like I like these like chunky mark making that you're making. I like the chunky mark making that you are doing. It looks good. Colors are good. The only thing I would do is like, so I see you kind of like wanted to change this panel so that it's like, oh, Ivy's kissing him and we've like changed the scene. We've changed the color. I would take that instinct and I would like push it. Like right now you're at like a 5 maybe of like shift and like you can go bigger. Like I don't know. These are kind of turning out weird. But like you know what I mean? Like you can go big. Yeah, this got weird. I don't know. I'm off the rails. I'm RGB. This is getting out of control. Someone in the chat should have stopped this a long time ago. All right. Maybe we got there. Go big and stay home. Yeah. But like, yeah, you can like really like go for it, you know? And like the kiss is like the big thing here. You can take Harley and be like, oh, it's such like all of the emotions are there. And like Harley's looking on and it's so passionate that she's like faded away a little bit. You know, like you can control all this kind of thing. Man, when you view this thing up close with all these pixels, whew. Anyway, yeah, you can push it a little further is what I'm saying. And you can also like knock out this line art. I noticed that you weren't knocking out like a lot of line art. Quick throw in the plaid. So like this line art where he's like, you know, he's like, I don't know, surprised or whatever, and the stars where he gets like knocked out, and like this little heart and stuff, like all that line art can be colorized. I noticed that like you seem to be a little apprehensive to do that. And then we get to this page and like the whole thing's knocked out. Like it's like a you made the color like this brownish kind of color. By the way, this brownish color is so dark that it will print so close to black that you will not be able to tell the difference. I would have to see like the actual PSD file to like, or TIFF file to like make sure, but like I'm pretty sure you're so close that like you might be too close, you know? But this stuff looks cool. Like when you're knocking out the sides of the mask, like you're starting to like color on top of the line art, and I think that's like really neat. Like through here, it looks good. You have a sense of place with like Batman in like this desaturated green orange, and then Catwoman in like the Batmobile in this purple blue. Like that all looks good. Like I got no complaints about this page. Like I might change the teeth and lips color a little bit. They're looking a little local with everything else that's going on here. But that's the only thing that jumps out at me. This page is really great. It is a little bland. It's kind of the same note over and over again, which is the only reason why I would hesitate to like not include it in the portfolio. The thing is like it's kind of just this, like this one piece, and then like Batman's face, and then like this is kind of the same, and this is kind of the same. There's not a lot of opportunity for storytelling. When will publishers stop printing in CMYK? When we all have digital screens. It's bland because of the story. Yeah. So I would never. Okay, let me clarify this because this is important. This page is successful. This page is exciting. I would include this page in your portfolio. However, if you were going to color future Batman pages, I would look for pages that have more going on storytelling wise. Like I would look for pages that where you can where there's like scene transitions, where there's more than like the same note being hit over and over again. Look for opportunities, basically, is what I'm saying. Like, you know, Batman in a lab that's colored one way and then changes when Mr. Freeze shows up, and then you get to color some ice. That's like an opportunity. Like, you're doing a great job with the opportunities presented on this page, but like we could go further, is what I'm saying. I don't know. What I'm saying is like, I don't know if this is worth a portfolio slot, but you did it so well that I would put it in the portfolio. I don't know. I'm giving you like conflicting. I'm conflicted. That's what's going on, is I'm conflicted. This looks really great. I'd keep it in there. In the future, I would look for more challenging pages, is my point. Like I said, this I would cut completely. Like, you look at this page, by the way, you look at this page, and then you look at this page, and this looks like a different colorist. Like, this, I want this guy to show up down here. Like, you are so gutsy with the light and how dark you got over here versus how light you are over here. And then you get down here and it's like, this is like a little samey for me. Like this is, it's like a dark room and she's kind of like having a conversation here and he's on the other line. And you're running into the same problem. You're running into the same problem that you had up here where it's like, this is one scene, this is another scene, but they look similar. And this is the same thing going on. Like, she's talking on the phone, he's walking around, he's on the other, he's like talking to her, and like this and this kind of look like they're almost the same thing. Almost. And I don't get that from this at all. Like, you did an excellent job of like scene transitioning, like, and making Catwoman in the Batmobile and Batman on the rooftop, and like there's no question. So I want this guy to show up on this page because I think this page has like weird challenges to it that like this page does not, you know. The challenges that are down here are like car headlights, you know, like nighttime versus apartment, the cigarette smoke, the subway, how to light this whole scene. I think is interesting. Trying to like convey the appropriate information through these panels, I think is interesting. Like this, I think requires a little more focus. I would not do these clouds back here, by the way. This is not, I see you trying something out and it's just not working. But like this requires a lot of hoops to jump through. And this doesn't so much. This is kind of like one note. So I would, if I were you, I would go in and redo this page and think about how you want to do like use washes of color, like 20%, 30%, whatever on like the girl, and then a different color wash on the guy, and then like try to kind of like narrow it in from there. I think that you're doing like this kind of like sketchy, like light stuff that Betty Brentweiser does on Sean Phillips stuff, and it looks dope. Yeah, I mean, I like it. I think you should do more of it. Excuse me. The Daredevil pages look a little dark on my screen, but they look okay on the other screen. So maybe they're fine. They're okay. What I want to talk to you about these is thinking about silhouettes within comic book work. So you have Daredevil here. He's hanging onto a ledge, and he's kind of like blending into, like, the ledge is blending into the backgrounds, which is blending into like Daredevil. Like, you're getting to the point where, like, okay, so like this panel right here, you have like the same kind of tones in the building here as you do in the building over here, and like I would push these apart, like the way that I think this is this Somni? I can't tell. Yeah, Chris Somni. The way that Somni drew it, he drew it so that this building has a lot of detail in it and this building does not. He drew it separating the planes. And you want to be able to like further separate. Also, good on you for doing Chris Somni pages. I think they are a boon to any aspiring colorist. I think that Somni figures a lot of stuff out for you that you don't necessarily have to deal with, and you can just like do fun stuff. Somni's great. And you do a great job with him. I feel like if you just think about the silhouettes that he's creating, and think about separating the planes, these pages will pop very, very easily. Same thing here. I would just like lighten up the sky, and you'll get the silhouette of the buildings more clearly, silhouette of the rooftop more clearly. And I get it. It's raining. You shouldn't be able to see anything. But like, we're also reading a comic, so like, let me be able to see something. The knocked out rain looks cool. Okay, so the knocked out rain looks great here. This starts to look weird, where it's just kind of like one sheet, and then like you didn't knock out some of the stuff over here, I think because this is like a building maybe, but it's like the rain is all behind the building now, and like my green screen is like going nuts. Whoa, that was the man behind the curtain. I gotta figure out lighting. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is that like you're ending up with this situation where like the rain is falling behind your immersion. The rain is falling behind the building only, in like a weird way. And if you're gonna be doing this kind of stuff, I think you have to use like a little bit of discretion. I think that like you just gotta like I gotta fix this green screen. It's driving me nuts. I'm sorry. Whoa. I don't know if that's gonna be better. We're gonna I gotta figure out lighting, says the professional comic book colorist. Yeah, exactly. I gotta figure out actual lighting, like with actual lights in my house. But yeah, so I think that if you use like a dingy brush, and you do the same thing that Somni did, by like pushing the brush through this thing, you'll be able to like kind of narrow into a place where this isn't as jarring, you know? The other thing that I would want to say is that like you have so much mood going on with like the dark buildings, and Daredevil is like clearly like lit, you know, and he's got this like purple light on him. And then you get down here, and the skin tones are all kind of samey, and the gloves are white, and the like, I don't know who this character is, Baron something probably. His like gold pieces are gold, and it like pushes me out. Like, this all needs to be washed with like, you know, a dark blue 30%, 20%, something like that. I see you like thinking about like, you know, carrying this green over here. I think that's a good impulse. I would push it, do like the whole thing in like a greenish. This stuff looks dope. You really like figured out Daredevil's Daredevil's like whole thing. Wash your clothes and comics. Yeah. I mean, like comic coloring, straight up, comic coloring is a lot of like, you know, 20% washes, 30% washes. Like when you watch me when I color, like when I start a piece, I'm like, okay, let's just wash it with 30% and then like figure it out from there. Because then you get away from the local color. You start to narrow into like where you want to be visually, and you can start to make like fine detail choices. And I think that you're doing that. Like I see it here. Like the reason that this works so well is because like this isn't like black. It's like this greenish, like, you know, like the blue got washed with like a weird orange and now it's this like odd color. Like, you know, this purple in her on her skin looks really interesting. Like that's where you want to be, and you get there by like doing like washes of color and like washes like unifying the palette that way. All right, and then this is the final piece. The only thing that, so I would do what I was saying up here with like knocking out the line art, and then like, you know, the stars and stuff, like you can colorize that line art. Also, I just kind of realized they seem like they're in one place, and then this is so light and the color changes so much that it seems like they're in another place, which could be true in the comic, but like when you put these two pages together, it looks like, I don't know, it's a little bit jarring. You want to ground your environment. Anyway, let's move on. Yeah, you want to colorize the line art. Like this is way in the back. You want to colorize this line art back here. These trees back here, you want to colorize this line art. Like, oh, and you missed a spot here. We missed that. That's not that big of a deal. There's probably a giant word balloon that's going to go over here. I like these little like rakes that you're using back here. That's like neat. And visually interesting. You're doing all this like chunky brush stuff that I think is rad. You're not doing, a lot of newer colorists will like go all in on like deep shadows sometimes. It's either like one or the other. Like they'll either do deep shadows and they'll do it all over the place, or they'll do like, they're afraid of rendering and they'll do like barely any shadows and like that kind of thing. And I see you doing both, which is great. Like you're doing a lot of deep shadows here. Like this is more confident shadow work as well. Like this stuff is really confident. And then we get down here and it's still confident, but you're doing like, it's similar. The skin tones and stuff are similar, and it's perfect because it reads like daytime, you know? When it's daytime, you have less of a contrast. It should be more even. So yeah, I think these pages are great. You're struggling a little bit with like, you want to make everything feel sunny and yellow. And so like the sidewalk's kind of turning into this like brown with like an orange, which is a little bit jarring. But like, here's a quick tip. Here's a quick tip for cars, by the way. So you have this taxi, right? You can take, like here's the gray that you used for the street. We're just going to set it to screen. So you have like this core shadow, right? And then you have like a little highlight on the bumper, and you're kind of doing it down here where you're giving like a little bounce light, but just like a little more bounce light will make it feel more chromy, you know, will make it feel more like a car. And you kind of want to like move with the car. Like you want the shape to be like the same as the car. So like that kind of thing. You want, and then like this is the hood, so you want to kind of keep it all the same. Like it gives it a little bit of a form to it. You want to make it feel boxy kind of. Yeah. So like just like that kind of simple thing will make your cars look a little better. Cars are tough. But at any rate, I really like this page. Like you're continuing this like spot yellow through the page. Looks really great. And then like the girl is in this pink. The pink could be a little bit brighter, but it's fine. And then everybody else is kind of in these dull colors. It works really well. Yeah. Other than knocking out line art, I don't see anything bad about this page at all. The only thing I would say about this page is that like this, it's kind of one note. And like, I really wish that like basically throughout all of this, the takeaway that I think that you should have is that I want to see you like work on more complex things. And I don't think that the other aspect of this is that this portfolio is really strong. We just like kind of beat you up for 50 minutes. I'm sorry about that. You're totally not deserving of it. Like the portfolio is very strong. Like you're ready to work somewhere. I don't know where. We're going to talk about like how to get you from I've built a portfolio to like I've now shopping for colors, because I think you're like past ready for that step. And I think that if you start working on projects, if you start working on pages where you're doing like 20 pages a month, every month, you're going to start to be in situations where you're working on more complex things, where you're not like picking and choosing what you want to work on, which is a little scary, but like also like I feel like that's where you need to get better. Like if you want to level up from here, doing portfolio work is not where you're going to be. Like the level up from here is doing like, comics work, 20 pages every month, like figuring out how to color faster, figuring out how to pull focus on the fly, figuring out what to color and what not to color. Like all that stuff's going to get hammered out when you start to do like 20 pages a month, 40 pages a month, 60 pages a month, you know, that kind of thing. Yeah. So like, I think that you need to stop making portfolios and start getting work. And let's talk about that in a second. I'm just trying to figure out if there's anything else I want to say about any of this stuff. I don't think there's too much else to say. Other than I would definitely cut this page. But the rest of it's real strong. We nitpicked you a lot, but the rest of it is real strong. Again, if you like darkened up Ivy in the foreground here, it'll look like she's close and then she's pulled away. And like that's kind of where you want to be. What's my general monthly output? I get about 80 to 90 pages done in a month, depending on what's going on. I don't think that, like, I know I just talked about like monthly output, but if you're only comfortable doing 20 good pages, I wouldn't do 40 bad pages if I were you. Like, I wouldn't be like, well, I have to do 60 if I'm going to get better, so I'm just going to do 60 terrible pages. That's not where you should be mentally. Mentally where you should be is like, I want to challenge myself, but I don't want to compromise the work, which is a tough line to walk. Yeah, I do about 4 to 5 books a month. I think Wilson does the same thing. Rico. Is it getting real over there for you, Rico? But like, you know, if you're working like a regular job, I don't want you to be like, you know, in order to be successful, you got to do 60 pages. And then you're like, well, I don't know if I can quit this job that I have and then like do 60 pages, but I'm going to try. And then like it all crashes and burns. Like, that's not where you want to be. Like, Johnny Lighthands needs to make the transition from portfolio to getting work. Cause that's where his next level up is. The stuff that we talked about in the portfolio review is all stuff that he will work out on his own through time and pages. And what he needs to do is just have time and pages. And like, to do that, you just got to start working. But yeah, figuring out like what your threshold is for like how much work you can do effectively is also something that you will figure out with time and pages. You can do 40 bad pages a month with the worst of them. Yeah. When I was doing like the worst work of my career, I was doing like 120 terrible pages a month. And like the crappy, should a colorist include splashes pinups? Hell no. Hell no. We talked about this. I talked about this in the beginning of the crit, so you probably weren't here. But like, man, every time I open up a portfolio and it is pinups, I just want to like throw the portfolio across the room. Like, I get it. Pinups are fun. Pinups belong on your Instagram. Pinups belong on your Twitter. Pinups belong in a place where you are like prototyping techniques so that you don't have like long-term ramifications. Like, you should not prototype a technique on page 1 of 60 for a series, of 1 of 80 for a series. Like, because then you're locked in. Like, that hits print and you're like, how am I going to walk this back? It was not successful. The same is true for line art, folks. Yeah, exactly. You want, like, if you're looking for a job in comics, I have never seen anyone hired who has not done sequential pages. It's like, I can't make this clear enough. Do sequential pages. Have I ever thrown someone's portfolio across the room? No. All right, so let's talk about like moving from I've made a portfolio into I am now getting work. Let's talk about let me paint you a how-to guide in how to bully me out of the industry. Here we go. What you want to do, the most, so it's been a while. Let me preface this. Let me couch this whole thing. What if you drop a few coupons in the jacket box in the portfolio? Yeah, give them a link. Bribes are accepted. Everyone volume up. So, like, I've been out of the industry, out of the portfolio slinging game for a long time. So I just want to couch that. Like, if you think that you should move in a direction and you think that it's a positive direction and I don't mention it, that doesn't mean that you should stop doing that. If you think that it's positive and you think that it's working, by all means do it. But what I don't want you to do is to do that one thing and be like, I got it all figured out. We're done here. You know, like, I don't want you to do that. What I want you to do is think about every single like opportunity that you have. Like, don't focus on one thing and then be done. I want you to think about like, how do I do like 6 things, 7 things, 8 things? How do I put my portfolio in front of every single person I possibly can? I've gotten, and so like with that said, here's my experiences trying to get work. I've gotten more jobs and consistent long-term jobs. Not like, oh, I got hired for a thing and now the thing is over and then I don't hear from anyone ever again. The way to get long-term jobs, in my experience, is to pair up with a line artist. Get a line artist that loves your work with you, and like get them to take you on the road. Now, this is like a tricky thing, and like there's no like right way to do it. You just like click with people, and then they suggest you for work. Certain line artists do this all the time. Like Somni always works with Wilson. Period. End of story. Done. Like I have worked with Oming pretty much on everything that he's done that's been like high profile for a long time. He does a few other things with a couple other colorists, but it's always been like kind of like smaller work. But like the big stuff like Powers and Cave and all that has always been with him. And the part of that is because like we get along. He suggests me for work. He wants to work with me. Capullo, yeah, exactly. You see it all the time. You see artists who are paired with colorists, and if you can get somebody that you get along with that will go to bat for you, then it works. That said, you cannot get upset if an artist, you work really well with them, you have a good relationship, and then they move on, and then they jump on another project and they get another colorist. There's a lot of colorists who like will work really well with somebody, and then the line artist really likes them and wants to work with them again, but then the line artist gets hired on a project where they either don't feel like they like have enough clout to suggest you as a colorist, or the editor has another colorist in mind, so like he's got a guy that he wants to hire or something like that. Like a lot of things in the chain can go wrong that have absolutely nothing to do with you. So I want to like up front, and then some line artists like just straight up don't think about color or don't think about long-term the advantages of long-term stuff with colors. Like some line artists are so focused on like what they're doing that they're like, oh, this looks great. This was a fun project. Now we're done. Some people just think about the process differently, and that's totally fine. And that's their own prerogative. So you can't, what I'm saying is like, although I'm telling you that like, this is the best way to get long-term work, I don't want you to think like I don't want you to take that information and then like translate it in a way, you or anyone else, to be like, how can I now bully my way into another person's life? Because there's a lot of different factors that are like, you know, reasons that like you might not get picked up again. So what I'm saying is like, once you start putting enough work out there, the people who appreciate you and appreciate your work over theirs will start to take you in. It's like a snowball effect. Oh boy, we need to make new friends. Yeah. So like, yeah, it'll snowball. And like, if you see somebody that like you think could be colored better, if you think you could do something better over somebody else's work or whatever, like a good way to try to get noticed is to not even like be like, I'm going to submit a portfolio and blah, 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 blah. Just to be like, hey, can I color some stuff? And like, and my advice would be like, don't do this with like top guys. Top guys are like doing their own thing. Do this with like mid to bottom level people who are just starting out, people who are on your level as well, who are very, very talented. And then you could be like, oh, Colors butchered this indie book of like this comic. Like I could probably do that. I'm going to get in touch with this person and see if they have something that I can color. And then if they like it, they might suggest me for a book. Like you have to start like thinking about it in a way where you're like, okay, how do I get noticed by a penciler? How do I get noticed by, you know, an artist that I like? And that's the other key thing is like, this is a way to get you on projects that you enjoy. You know, if you like working with a specific artist, then like, this is the way to do it. I can tell you that I've had short-term success with, talking to editors. A lot of times when I get hired on books, by showing a portfolio to an editor or an editor hearing about me and needing somebody, like I'll be hired for that one book or maybe a couple titles. and then nothing, you know? And the reason for that is usually if that editor moves on to the next project and they hire a line artist who goes to bat for their colorist, I'm out, you know, like I'm done. And then like it might be 6 months before they're like putting together another project, and then I'm already like out of sight, out of mind. So what I'm saying is you got to make those connections. You got to make connections to people that you want to work with, that you might think are colorist is like undervaluing. And then another way to do this is to also bring your portfolio to Comic-Cons, and just like talk to people about it. Like don't put it, like, your portfolio speaks for itself. Put it in front of people, like, not like, hey, I'm the hot shit. Let me what I'm hearing is camp out on people's lawns. No, be cool. What I'm saying is, chat, be cool. All right. So you could take your portfolio to a Comic-Con and be like, and talk to line artists and colorists there, and be like, hey, will you just take a look at my portfolio? Be like, hey, I know you're a line artist, but just like, can you just take a look and like tell me what you think? Because a lot of times if a line artist has a project coming up, hasn't been happy with their colorist, they will look at your work and like be thinking about that while they are looking at your work. And you don't have to pressure them. They'll be like, oh, hey, if you ever want to work on something, here's my card. You know, like, oh, hey, let me get your info. Oh, hey, you know, like, and then this is also critical. If something like that happens, trade info, because like a lot of times I've gone home from a Comic-Con and then with like a pile of cards that just like end up in a pocket somewhere. And then I'm like, shit, who was that person? What were they doing? Like, you gotta follow up. That's how you got Laverne's card. I don't know who Laverne is, but I like where your head's at, Cosmic Sword. But yeah, so if I were you, I think you're in England. I think that's what it said. UK. Yeah, you're in London. I would try to hit big Comic-Cons there, and I would, man, I am so red in this camera. We gotta do a thing. I don't know. But yeah, so I'm getting distracted. I would try to hit as many Comic-Cons as you can. And I would put your portfolio in front of as many eyeballs as you can, and just ask for impressions, ask for critiques. And I think that, damn, one artist didn't follow through because he wanted free coloring. Yeah, I mean, it looks like a 30% red washed myself. Yeah, I do look very red. I'm red in the face. I'm dishing out advice. So, yeah, I'm not saying that you should work for free. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that, like, if you think that, like, an artist contacts you, you think they're great, you think that they have potential to go somewhere else after the free work, maybe give it a shot. If it's like one issue, definitely do it. How much time out of the day is that? How much time out of the month is that? Like, consider these opportunities. Like, a lot of colorists and a lot of, it looks like I've been yelling all stream. I kind of have. A lot of colorists, like, will think about, like, not ever doing free work. Like, my work is valuable, my time is valuable. But, like, at the same time, you also have to get somebody to, like, take a chance on you. So, you know, it depends. I don't think you should do all free work. I don't think you should do I don't think you should be jumping across the screen to do free work. I think that you should take each individual, like, opportunity that you have and think about it and, like, give it weight and understand that if it's a 6-issue thing, you're talking about like 7 months worth of your time. So when you decide to do that, you want to make sure that you're getting something out of it. And if you think that you potentially can have a relationship with the artist who's coming up, like, you want to be able to do that free work. Yeah. If it's someone you're a fan of, yeah. But not even if you're a fan, just like objectively look at the work and be like, okay, is this something that like I want to do? Is this something that like I want, you know, to like tie my ship to? I don't know, to dock my port. Whew, I don't know. Guys, I have to, I don't know. I'm trying to fix this cam. There we go. There we go. Guys, I'm very gray now. What is this stream turning into? Johnny Lighthands. I hope that we've given you something to think about. We can take a look at your covers and pinups just for shits and giggles. But yeah, so to recap, basically, what I'm saying is that you should figure out how to get your work in front of potential artists that you want to work with. And you should try to cast a wide net. You should try to do this by going to Comic Cons. You should try to do this by contacting artists over Twitter and being like, hey, can I color something? Hey, can I color something? And even if it doesn't pan out, pro tip, tell an artist at a con you want to dock their port. Oh, man. And even if it doesn't work out, like, you still get the experience of like working on a thing. And obviously, you know, that stuff can be this. That stuff can be like, this looks great. Is this Canetti? Yeah, that's why it looks great. Not to slight you, Johnny Lighthands, but Canetti does stuff that looks good. This is all really good though, the stuff you're putting in here. Yeah, this looks awesome. Like this, like, sketchy brush stuff you're doing all looks rad. Like the like embers like actually register really well. Like that stuff's tough to do. But like, this is the thing, is like with Canetti, I don't know that like you're ever going to be able to like nail down Canetti is what I'm saying. Is like, I don't think that like, I mean, like, I'm kind of putting words in his mouth, and that's not what I want to do. But like, you know, Eric is going to go wherever he's going to go and work with whoever he's going to work with. And, you know, it'd be great if you could be like Eric's guy, but like for Trad Moore, for example, like Trad Moore is probably going to work with Matt Wilson, probably, or maybe Rico. I think he's done some stuff with Rico. Like, so when you're like doing Trad Moore stuff, you're saying, hey, fuck Matt Wilson. Let's go with me. And I don't know if that's like, I mean, you're also, and I'm not talking like, you know, as in like you should never color Trad Moore stuff. What I'm saying, if you enjoy coloring Trad Moore stuff, that's great. But like, you know, what I'm saying is that when you do color Trad Moore, Nayoung's laughing in the chat. When you do color Trad Moore stuff, like the opportunity there, the opportunity that you are trying to create doesn't exist coloring Trad Moore stuff. Like Trad will never be like, you know, screw Matt Wilson, we're gonna go with an unknown. You know, like that doesn't exist. So like, while this may have been fun and you may have gotten some extra eyeballs on it because it's Transformers, or you may have gotten some extra eyeballs on it because it's Trad Moore, it ultimately is not fruitful to getting you work, is my point. Which is like the place that I want to, the like mindset I want to put you in, the arrow that I want to focus is like, let's get you some work. Same thing with Chris Somney. Man, dude, are you gunning for Matt Wilson? That's fine. You do you, man. And another Trad Moore. Yeah. So this looks great, by the way. All this stuff looks good. Yeah. You're doing like sketchy stuff. Watch your back, Wilson. But yeah, so it's like, you know, you're doing like a lot of like high profile comic book artists, which is great for like practice and stuff like that. But I think you've hit the point where you're beyond just doing pinups, practice, stuff like that. Like, I think that what you want to do, yes, this looks great. This palette's great. Yeah, I think where you want to be is like thinking about less about like Trad Moore and Chris Somney and more about like up and coming artists and trying to like get their attention. And the best way to get their attention is to color their work. At any rate, have you moved from portfolio review to how to make friends that get you paid? Yeah, kind of. But like, okay, like full disclosure, Crease is up there. He's up and coming. Yeah. Full disclosure, like, I'm not making friends within the industry to get paid. Like, I don't want you guys to think that. Michael Avon Oming, please continue to return my calls. I do value our friendship and stuff. But like, you know, like when you want to get work, you have to think about it in a mentality of like focusing where you think like weaknesses in the industry are that you can fill. And you know, spend your time like wisely. If you have hey Kennedy, we're at the end of the portfolio review here for Lighthands. Nick, please be my friend Filardi. Yeah, I mean, I'll take that. That's my nickname right there. So yeah, just hit Comic Cons, and if you do pinups to like try things out, try to hit up up and coming colorists to try to get, or up and coming artists to try to get their attention. I went to one party, so I'm cool. Yeah. Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, you're doing all the things that you need to do. I think you just need to make that jump. Yeah, all this stuff looks good. How often are you putting out work? Can we see that from your Instagram? I don't know if we can. Oh God, this is 3 days ago. This is February 11th, January 8th, 6th. Yeah, so I would try to put out a greater volume of work. Yeah, Eric, you don't have a coloring guy. You should get a coloring guy. I know a guy who colors. Yeah, so I would try to put out, if you want to like focus up and get work, you need to be visible, which means you need to be putting stuff out. You should get a coloring gal. Whoa, Nayoung, you watch yourself. At any rate, yeah, you should this is not gonna work. Whatever. Yeah. Focus up. Put work out there, be visible. If you need to do pinups just to like be visible, definitely do that, but do not let sequentials fall by the wayside. You got to do sequentials too. If I were you, I'd try to create like a regimen of like, you know, okay, I'm going to do like 1 or 2 sequentials during the week, and then on the weekends I'm going to try to do a page, you know, something like that. That's like low impact. And if you can work a day job, if you have a day job, I don't know what your situation is, but if you're working a day job, like that's something that's like doable. And that way you're putting out 3 things a week, and then you got them coming out like clockwork. And then it's like, you start to become undeniable. One of the things that I feel like Jordy is really good at is like, she's an anomaly. Like she can do so much work at such high quality so fast that like there is never a week where she doesn't have something on the shelf. And because of that, she's super, super visible. And like that's I think what everyone should aspire to without totally destroying their work, like without working themselves into a place where they're just turning out garbage because they're so burnt out. Like you need to figure out where your threshold is, and you figure that out by doing the work. If I were you, I would set up a training regime and try to get out like as much stuff as you possibly can. Oh, he had a stress injury in January. It slowed him down a bit. Oh man, that sucks. Repetitive stress injury. Yeah. Jordy is a machine. Yeah. She's like, she just turns around and comics flow from her. She's like the moose thing in, Princess Mononoke, where like he takes steps and like things grow. Like Jordy's the same way with comics. It's like she just like walks around and comics just like fall off her. She's great. She's one of my favorite people. And it's amazing. She's truly like a comic book treasure. But anyway, there you go, Johnny Lighthands. We talked about your work for about an hour and a half, or about an hour 20 minutes. The forest's god of comics. Yeah, exactly. I hope that it's good. I look forward to fixing my green screen, guys. I don't know what the hell's going on here, but I'm very desaturated now, and we've got these pixels all around me. That is a god, Nick. You know, the moose man from The Thing. I hope that you got something out of this, Johnny Lighthands. If you want to talk about it more, you can follow up with and anyone else who wants to have a portfolio review or has had a portfolio review, wants to do a follow-up. If you're a subscriber, you can pop into the Discord. There's a subscriber room only that's super secret and hidden, where we talk about everybody else who's not a subscriber, and we also drop off portfolios. And, you know, like I can talk about your work and I can point you in the right direction. And if you want to follow up, pop in there. We'll talk about it. And if you go down the road and you feel like you're making progress, but you're not quite sure what the next step is, by all means, resubmit. Like I have yet to do a resubmitting of a portfolio. And like I would love to talk about like where you were and where you're going, you know, like start to get context for you guys. That would be awesome. I want you to be in the right direction. I want you to be making comics. Yeah. So, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. If you want to subscribe, you can subscribe for free by linking your Amazon account to your Twitch account. If you do that, then you can also link the Twitch to the Discord, and you're linking everything all together, and you get a sweet sub emote called "Don't Look at Me," which is critical to our situation. At any rate, guys, next time we're going to be, Declan started, speaking of, comic artists, Declan, gave me some stuff to color on stream. So maybe we might table the magic cover that we had before and maybe do some stuff with Declan, because I saw that he started streaming. And I want to promote his stream, and I want to talk about his work, because his work is awesome, and he is awesome, and you should all follow him. I'm not exactly, I gotta figure out, I should have figured out how to link him over, but yeah, we'll talk about him. He just started streaming, so give him the bump, give him the follow. Yeah, Declan. Yeah. We should probably figure out, like, we should. Let's bear with me while I figure out where the link is. It's just his name, but I was so sure I was going to spell... yeah, there it is. It's in the chat. I was so sure that I was going to spell it wrong that like I didn't even want to try. I wanted to confirm. But yeah, he's streaming. Go follow him. Also follow Canetti. He streams all the time. Kate is in the chat as well. She's digital painting. You should follow her. She streams. She's just started streaming some Dragon Age Origins, which is awesome. I'm plugging everybody. I'm plugging them all. At any rate, guys, keep making comics. We're gonna be back with some stuff back in the wheelhouse. My doorbell just rang, so I'm gonna get going. Guys, keep making comics.